They liked the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
NASCAR goes east as we head to the Martinsville Speedway, and we finally leave the West Coast swing, where the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series will be racing in the STP 500 on Sunday. Robbie Mays, Tyler Burnett, we're here to talk fantasy racing as we do each and every Friday. What is it, morning now, because we're on at 10:30. Practice coming up at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Robbie, your final thoughts as we put a bow. You were at all three, you were at two of the West Coast swing races, right?
Yeah, I was at two of the three West Coast swing races. Interesting couple of weeks for the Cup Series. We've seen one driver make a stand early in the season. Obviously, his name is Kyle Larson.
That's an understatement.
He is just, I tell you, I knew he's a good driver. I did not expect him to be as strong this season as he has been. And not only he, but Jamie McMurray, his teammate as well. Both of the Ganassi cars have been strong this year. I think they're getting more support from Chevrolet than they have in the past, because Stewart-Haas Racing was the number 2 Chevrolet team for a long time. They're with Ford now, so there's more factory support going to, Chip Ganassi, Childers. Both of those teams have won in the last couple of weeks. So, I'm really impressed with what Kyle's been doing this year, and we're going to talk about some surprises leaving Auto Club Speedway, some good surprises and some bad surprises. And I think for a couple of drivers, even though we're 5 races into the season, I think it's still panic mode for a couple of guys.
And that might be something that we follow up on, though Chevrolet probably won't admit that they're giving them more things, though Chevrolet is, probably, they want to help Chip Ganassi Racing, but
sure.
You look at Hendrick Motorsports, they're not running near as well as Chip Ganassi Racing is right now. Now, is Kyle Larson the best he's been in his career? Most likely, but is he better than 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson? Is he better than Chase Elliott, who has shown some things? We don't know, but we'll see those things moving forward. This weekend, Kyle Larson probably goes to one of his worst racetracks at the Martinsville Speedway, so we are going to see if it's the car or if it's the driver this weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
definitely.
So coming up on the show today, unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to put it, Rich Culbreth is on the show today, and the reason why we're bringing him on is because he is, for some reason, very good at this fantasy mess, because he had yet another top 5 out of close to 3,500 people last week.
I don't know how he does it, but I know.
He's lucky.
I'm
putting it in the lucky category.
He cheats.
He does.
He's a cheater. You're Rich Culbreth, you are a cheater.
Craig Moore has stepped in for Daryl Smith today. Daryl Smith is at a basketball tournament with his son, the Rolling Hornets, so good luck to them. But thanks to Craig Moore for stepping in. So we're going to take our first break. We have Under the Rock today. We have Rango Fowler. Rich Culbreth is coming on the show. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Brake Deals event. Take advantage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're smart, got your own trucking business, making it happen. What if I told you there was a place online where you could connect with other smart owner-operators just like you? It's an online community called Team Run Smart, where people share advice on truck maintenance, fuel savings, healthy habits on the road, and so much more, all to make your business more profitable. And it's all free. Visit teamrunsmart.com today to check it out. You'll be glad you did. teamrunsmart.com, brought to you by Freightliner Trucks.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger.
Ready to move out.
Now, back to the Inside Lines dynamic duo. Here's Fat Man and Robbie.
Wow. Wow, did he call me Fat Man or Batman? It's STP week on MRN, and for over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge, developing products to help engines perform at their best. Their latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 Plus, fuel system cleaner and fuel stabilizer, deep cleans your entire fuel system and helps keep stored fuel fresh. STP. We're proud to have STP this week, sponsoring the entire week on MRN leading up to the STP 500 at Martinsville. We also have a Martinsville Madness feature that we've been airing. We have all of the clips on Twitter, SoundCloud, and we've narrowed it down to 8 finishes. Today in practice, here coming up in an hour at 11:30, we'll announce our top 4 finishes of all time at Martinsville. And then, of course, on April 2nd, which is Sunday, we'll announce the winning finish, if you will, of the STP Martinsville Madness. So, Robbie, leaving the West Coast swing, we go east now to Martinsville. Your 3 surprises leaving Auto Club Speedway, Phoenix, everything else out there in the West.
Well, first of all, if we're talking Final Four, my Gamecocks, they're in the Final Four, both men's and women's. Way to go, guys.
Yeah, the women's aren't going to win.
3 surprises leaving Auto Club Speedway. Number 1, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Don't know what's going on with that bunch this year. They are struggling right now. Friday, not even close in practice. Saturday, still the same, and Sunday in the race, they just struggled all weekend long. We get to Auto Club Speedway over the weekend. We're doing our practice coverage on Friday. You have the front of the garage. You have so one building. You have some haulers in the middle, and you have the back of the garage, the other half of the garage cars. And Dale Jr. was on the back half of that. So they're just struggling right now. They were 23rd in points going into Auto Club Speedway last week. Something's up. I don't know whether it's the driver, the car, the crew chief, a combination of the 3. But I'm surprised at how bad they're struggling right now.
Yeah, I'd put Jimmy Johnson in that mix as well, though we're going to definitely see if Jimmy Johnson is actually struggling or if they just have bad luck because this is one of his best races.
This is the litmus test this weekend.
Yeah, so we'll see. And along with Joe Gibbs Racing. I mean, we're going to talk about them here in a second. But my number 1 surprise is Chip Ganassi Racing. All right, you talked about how people are struggling. This team is not struggling. Kyle Larson, 4th podium finish in a row, and just for fun, I want to give his average finish over the last 4 races. 1.75 is his average finish over the last 4 races. That's 3 second-place finishes and a win, of course. And I can do math. 1.75 is his average finish. Jamie McMurray has been no slouch as well. 6th last week at the Auto Club Speedway. He has 3 top 10s in 5 races. Chip Ganassi Racing right now is the biggest surprise to start this year for me.
I agree. I think they are the best team in the garage right now. My second surprise leaving Auto Club Speedway over the course of the weekend, Clint Boyer. This was a good surprise. Finished 3rd on Sunday afternoon, his first top 5 finish since Bristol in August of 2015. When Clint Boyer is happy, it should make other people happy. And watching him in the media center on Sunday afternoon, he was excited. He was smiling. He was genuine. It's the Clint Boyer that I became a fan of a long time ago. So congratulations, Clint, on the season. I'm hoping that they can continue this. He was the best car by far over the course of the weekend at Auto Club Speedway. No issues for Clint Boyer at all during the course of the weekend. So congratulations on your first top 5 in almost 2 years.
He was the best car, as in he was the best car at Stewart Haas Racing, right?
I just said that.
Oh, I thought you meant he was the best car overall because I don't think he was. He wasn't better than the 42.
Pay attention.
All right, my second surprise is Team Penske. Last week, Team Penske had a championship-type performance, and it started with not being able to qualify with Joey Logano. He started 35th, and Logano ended up finishing 5th. After a long day, he finally made it to the top, towards the front. But the most impressive drive in the field, Sunday, was not Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson had the best car. He started from the pole.
Yeah.
He led the majority of the laps along with Truex, the 2 best fantasy picks last week. But Brad Keselowski's performance was a performance a way that you win a championship, and that is why he is always a championship contender. He wrecked on lap 0 going into turn 1.
He didn't even make it past the start-finish line before.
His entire left side of his car was let's just put it as like a tin can or crinkled.
Yeah, it was bad.
They finished second. On Sunday. That was an impressive performance from Team Penske, and I think it continues this week at Martinsville. There are going to be 2 very good cars this week.
I think what the 2 cars showed me last weekend was they have resolved to be able to not only withstand problems early in the race, but also come back and make the best out of it. So that was a great run for that bunch. And I was in his pit when that happened on Sunday, so watching them fix that car, that was pretty cool. My final surprise leaving Auto Club Speedway is Matt Kenseth. for the second straight week, a DNF caused by a crash. 3 races this year he's failed to finish out of 5 starts. Only the 4th time in his career he's had back-to-back DNFs. Something's up with that bunch. I don't know what it is. But if you go back to last year, they also struggled at the start of the season, and it wasn't until Dover in May that they finally found their footing. He went to victory lane twice. So I'm not overly concerned right now, but you got to start to wonder what's going on with that bunch.
Yeah, I'm going to go along the same lines with that, but on the opposite spectrum for Joe Gibbs Racing. All right, how much money would you have bet that Daniel Suarez, 5 races in, had the same amount of top 10s as Kyle Busch, the same amount of top 10s as Denny Hamlin, and more top 10s than Matt Kenseth?
$1 million.
So 2 7th-place finishes for Daniel Suarez at Phoenix, and which is probably one of his better racetracks, and then at Auto Club Speedway last week. Suarez has quietly been pretty impressive for Joe Gibbs Racing.
I would not have bet any money on that because I would have been wrong going into the season. I thought Kyle and Denny were going to be the 2 cars this year that we're going to have to watch, and not the 19. I wasn't sure what the 19 was going to do.
All right,
but right now he's strong.
Yeah, let's move on from that note right there. You mentioned Kyle Denny.
Yeah.
Must starts this week at Martinsville. Are they on your plan?
Kyle Busch is.
Okay.
Denny Hamlin, I don't know yet, but Kyle Busch definitely is. He's got the best 5 race and the best 10 race average at Martinsville. He won last year in the spring race, finished 5th in the fall race. 355 laps led in the last 5 races at Martinsville. And Tyler, this is the weekend where laps led can make or break your team. 500 laps, you have 250 points available to be able to score this weekend based on laps led. So if you have a driver who doesn't lead any laps on Sunday, you're going to be in trouble. If you've got a guy who jumps out to a huge lead and leads a ton of laps, then you're going to be in strong shape. So I think Kyle Busch, if he starts in the top 2 or 3 on Sunday, he has got to be a must start.
Exactly, and this is something that Rich and I talk about, every time we come back from a race weekend, and usually it's me arguing with him. He got lucky the past weekend, but if you look at the pole sitters right now, for the first 5 races, the pole sitters have led a lot of laps.
Yes, they have.
Joey Logano, though he didn't finish well at Phoenix, he wrecked. He was still 2nd in fantasy points because he led the entire first stage.
Right.
Someone is going to lead the entire first stage, most likely.
I mean, Kevin Harvick
from the front row,
Atlanta, Martin Truex at Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kyle Busch, I agree with you, is someone that you need to keep in consideration. I don't think he is my number 1 pick this week, and I think it's because I'm a little concerned about Joe Gibbs Racing right now, though he was the best car at Phoenix, and that is probably the closest track you will see right now on the first 5 races to Martinsville.
Sure.
Tight corners, flat track, though there's a dog leg in it, but he was dominant at Phoenix before, the last restart. So Kyle Busch, if he has the speed, definitely start him. But my number 1 pick is going to be Brad Keselowski. I think looking at Keselowski, I mean, he's had some great finishes in the last 3 races. His last 2 starts were 5th in last year's STP 500 and 2nd in the fall. Team Penske's been really good at Martinsville recently. They've been good all year. I think Brad Keselowski's probably a must-start this week.
I'm going to go along the Team Penske lines, but I'm going to go with his teammate Joey Logano. 417 laps led in the last 5 races at Martinsville Speedway, which is the most among anybody in the Cup Series. His 5-race average is a 13.0. That's skewed because of that little incident he and Matt Kenseth had a couple of years ago here. But he's been good for a while and won a lot of poles at Martinsville over the last few years too. So I like the Joey Logano if you're going to Team Penske plan. So I like Busch, I like Logano. I also like Chase Elliott this weekend, even though he struggled in 3 starts at Martinsville. Something about that team right now, I think just like along the lines of Kyle Larson, I think Chase Elliott's close to a win too.
We'll continue these topics talking fantasy racing at Martinsville with Rich Culbreth, who currently sits 7th out of, 3,500 people in our NASCAR.com Fantasy Live. He's next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Brake Deals event. Take advantage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
MRN's Throwback Thursday, the greatest races in NASCAR history.
Richard Petty comes to the outside of Benny Parsons, and ladies and gentlemen, it will be Richard Petty victorious in the STP Dodge.
Listen Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on MRN.com or the MRN app.
Dale Earnhardt has won the Daytona 500.
On demand in the MRN.com Media Center or on iTunes and Google Play.
Jeff Gordon wins the Southern 500 and the Winston Noble $5 million bonus.
Throwback Thursday on MRN.com.
Now, where were we? Oh, yes, talking fantasy racing on the Inside Line with Robbie Meigs and Tyler Burnett.
Cup Series practice coming up at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time at the Paperclip in Martinsville. Tomorrow we have, 2 practices, 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. And then, of course, the Alpha Energy Solutions 250. The Truck Series is back, and that should be good. Chase Elliott will be in that race. He is the only Cup driver in the field for the Truck Series. That's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And then, of course, Sunday, the STP 500, the big race, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Motor Racing Network. That should be very, very fun, Robbie.
I love this track.
So
I have nothing bad to say about going to Martinsville.
I don't like talking to this guy, though, and he's on the phone now. Rich Culbreth. And the reason why we have him on is because there's not many in the world right now that's better than him at fantasy racing. What is it, Rich? Probably what are you ranked overall in the world in NASCAR?
287.
287th in the world?
In the world.
Yeah, in the world.
We have the fantasy guru just outside the studio here in his cube giving us the wisdom.
I'm sort of a big thing here.
All right, let's talk about Martinsville, just because I don't want to hear you keep bragging.
Hold on. We don't want to talk about Auto Club?
No.
No, not really.
Come on now.
No, we're moving forward.
All right.
Let's ask Robbie why he didn't start Kyle Larson or Martin Truex Jr.
Because I was busy on Sunday and I didn't have time to set my lineup, okay? Let's move on.
Hey, look, one other thing before we get into Martinsville. We did the Facebook Live before the race, which was a really neat deal.
Oh, here we go, more bragging.
If you go back and you watch that, the things that I said came true.
The things that I said came true.
You called me a cheater, Mr. Robbie Mays.
I said you were a keeper.
You looked right at the camera a moment ago, and you called me a cheater.
I said you were a keeper.
Oh, a keeper.
All right, let's talk about keepers heading to Martinsville. All right. So Kyle Larson, we all play NASCAR.com Fantasy Live.
Sure.
Others play DraftKings. Others play Yahoo. But in NASCAR.com Fantasy Live, you keep your guys moving forward. And Kyle Larson has not been great at Martinsville, Rich. Do you think Kyle Larson is someone that you keep on your team moving forward?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. Kyle Larson has not had luck at Martinsville. And to be honest with you, I have not been sold on keeping a team every single week. I change my lineup every single week. So I think Kyle Larson is the guy that you want to sit this week, even though he's got, 4 now top 2 finishes. Wow. I just don't think you need to start him but when we go to Texas, you need to put him back on your team.
What do you think, Robbie?
I still think Kyle Larson's a keeper this weekend. I also think Kyle Busch is a keeper this weekend, who won this race last year pretty strong, both races here last year. Rich, what do you think about Kyle Busch? I mean, he's been driving angry for a couple of weeks now, and it's still, I think he's a great pick.
I think he is too.
I think so too. Kyle Busch, he's had a lot of luck there, and really, Kyle Busch really hadn't been that far out to lunch. I mean, he did well at Las Vegas, got spun out there on the last lap. He led a lot of laps at Phoenix, and he was looking pretty good at Auto Club. So Kyle Busch, when you mentioned a while ago the guys that you want to go with, I think Kyle Busch is my number one guy at Martinsville this weekend.
All right, considering you start everyone on your fantasy team that doesn't wreck, for the past 2 weeks at Auto Club Speedway, and Rich and I were talking about this the other day, every person I've started on my fantasy team that wasn't on his fantasy team has wrecked. So tell us who we should start this week at Martinsville, because should we start Jimmy Johnson? Should we start Matt Kenseth? Who should we start that's not going to wreck this week, fantasy wisdom man?
I say don't start Matt Kenseth. And he's not quite there yet. I think once you start seeing things turn around, another guy that I'm kind of worried about, and I shouldn't at Martinsville, is Jimmy Johnson. Well, let's watch how he does in practice. Let's see if they can turn things around. But that team, they're out to lunch right now, and they haven't quite figured out what they need to do. Now, I'm not saying don't start Jimmy Johnson. I'm just saying monitor his qualifying. If he qualifies up front, he practices well, then you want him on your team. But right now, don't feel like Jimmy Johnson is a lock for Martinsville. So that's one of my predictions as we go into Martinsville.
Rich, I'm not going to go 48 this weekend, and I feel weird saying that at Martinsville. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards the 24, towards Chase Elliott. What do you think about Chase this weekend at Martinsville?
Absolutely not. Don't go with Chase Elliott. That's another guy that you just want to keep off your team. He hasn't proven himself yet at Martinsville. That is a very unique track. And Chase Elliott, he wrecked the first start that he had there. He hasn't had luck there since then. He is going to be competing in the Truck Series race the day before to get practice. So he's not even qualified, or not, I won't say qualified, but he's not confident enough on that track just yet. So I'm going to say sit Chase Elliott this weekend.
What about some bargain picks this weekend, like an A.J. Allmendinger who finished in the top 10 here in both races last year, or maybe a Ty Dillon also in the Germain car that's always been strong at Martinsville?
Absolutely on A.J. Allmendinger. This is one of his best tracks. You definitely want to start him at Martinsville. Another guy that you may want to start, I don't know if you call him a bargain. He won a couple of weeks ago, but Ryan Newman is someone that performs well there. You mentioned earlier Jamie McMurray. He's a good pick there. Danica Patrick has had success at Martinsville. That is someone that might be a bargain pick. But here's the thing. You guys talk about how lucky I am, and well, here's the thing. You got to know how to play the game. And if you got to know, look, you got to know how to play the game with the numbers. No. Hear me out. If you've got a driver that's starting 37th that you think is going to move up, that's someone you want to start. But when you've got someone, say, let's give you an example this past weekend, Michael McDowell. Who had Michael McDowell on their team? Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. But he qualified well. Now, it's a risk versus reward. So if Michael McDowell qualifies in the top 20, there's a good chance he's not going to stay there. Think about that when you go to Martinsville. You got a guy that you know is going to move up, that's going to start at the back. You got guys that's going to qualify well. This may not going to stay there. So that's the key to doing well. I got nothing to hide. I'll tell you exactly how it's played.
Okay. I'm not sure about A.J. Allmendinger, the way they've been running this year, but
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Let's just hope that Rich doesn't have a great fantasy week so he's not on our show.
Rich, who's your winner?
Next week. Yeah, who's going to win this week?
Kyle Busch.
Okay.
I'm going to say Kyle Busch this weekend.
Kyle Busch is Rich's winner. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
O'Reilly.
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Brake Deals event. Take advantage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Once again, here's Frick and Frack.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Frick, he's Frack.
Sure.
Okay, and it's time to play our favorite game of the week, Under a Rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
I got choked up coming out of the break because I was so excited we were going to play Under a Rock and you were going to lose. This, and Daryl Smith and I, before he went out of town this week, we conferred with the Rules Committee.
There's no Rules Committee. It's just you making up stuff.
We conferred with the Rules Committee, and we feel like your assignment for Under a Rock this week is perfectly fair. This is a screen grab from a very famous movie with 3 very famous actors. I need all 3 actors.
Okay.
We feel like that's
all
fair.
3 actors? Are
all
you kidding
3.
me?
If you do not know these 3, you clearly live under a rock. So, Kreger, let's cue it up and let's play Under a Rock or Tyler.
I know one of them. Well, actually, I know 2 of them. I know Chevy Chase.
Okay, that's 1.
Is on the left.
Yes.
Steve Martin.
That's 2.
And I cannot tell who that is on the right. The picture's a little too small. I'm just going to guess and say Michael Myers.
No.
Oh, who was the 3rd one?
Martin Short.
Who the heck is Martin Short?
The 3rd guy in that picture.
Who the heck? No one knows who Martin Short is.
Everybody knows who Martin Short is.
Oh my goodness, I got close. What's the movie? I don't even know.
The Three Amigos.
Yeah, I don't know. What
we were going with the theme there. Martinsville, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. Throw it.
I don't know what the Three Amigos are. All right, let's get the chicken. Rango.
Let's go, Rango.
All right. I don't know how the chicken finished last week. I think he had Truex. He might have had Kyle Larson. I don't really know. Let's see what we got.
Rango's picks for Martinsville. Go away, Rango.
Jimmy Johnson?
He's got Jimmy Johnson. He's got A.J. Allmendinger. He's got Denny Hamlin. He's got Dale Jr. He's got Chris Buescher. His winner's the 48, and his car manufacturer is the Chevrolet.
Someone helped him out with this team. Like
I don't like
put
those
some
picks.
Food like on his picks or something like that.
I don't
They're
like
not
any
that
of those
bad
picks.
though. Like historically, like Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson.
Well, we just
A.J.
talked
Allmendinger. Historically,
we
Dale
just talked
Jr.
about
hasn't
Jimmy
been
Johnson,
that bad
Dale
at
Jr.
Martinsville.
Not good picks this weekend.
I know, but he hasn't been that bad at Martinsville recently. I mean, he's in the right direction. Let's put it that way. He's chasing down the right food, if you will.
I'm
All right.
gonna beat Rango this week.
His winner is Jimmy Johnson. Rich's was Kyle Busch. Who's yours?
I had this selected before Rich was even thought of coming.
Oh
on the shows.
gosh, here we go. Copycat.
Kyle Busch.
So Kyle Busch. We got 2 Kyle Busches now.
It's easier for me to do the graphic that way too.
So I'll stay away from that, and let's just pick someone blindly. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what you normally do.
I'm going to pick Brad Keselowski.
Okay.
To win the race at Martinsville. I told you that I thought he was a better pick than Kyle Busch this week. Just because of the pure fact that Joe Gibbs Racing hasn't been all that great this year, though they were the best car at Phoenix. And I will say that again. If Kyle Busch is fast in practice, you must start him because he is going to do well if he is. All right?
Okay.
So what other kind of wisdom you got? Fantasy wisdom.
Apparently, I don't have any. What do you got?
Thanks to Rich Culbreth, unfortunately, for calling in today on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. I'm sorry that we did not drop a break in the middle of your sentence, but we should have done that. Coming up today at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time is practice from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. We also have Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series qualifying coming up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, as long as it doesn't rain today. We'll see how that goes. Sunday is the STP 500 from Martinsville on MRN.com. Should be a good race. You can listen to it on MRN.com, all your stations, everything else at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Robbie, your final thoughts?
Looking forward to going to Martinsville. Looking forward to having a couple of hot dogs this weekend, not many, and listen to us. And if you're in the area, go to the race.
I'm sure you'll have plenty of hot dogs. Next week, we head to Texas. We'll talk to you next week on the Inside Line.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.